It's Friday, and just so happens it snowed yesterday, and coffee tastes good this morning, and it's warm. So I had something I wanted to talk about because I keep getting to do really awesome things. When I look back through my Google Photos in my phone or whatever, and I see all the pictures from the last year, and I see, wow, I'm really living the dream. So I wanted to talk about that. So I had a friend of mine who would say that, "How you doing?" "Oh, I'm living the dream." And he didn't necessarily mean it in the best way. By the way, Corey is sleeping right there in that pile of blankets. I'm, she stayed home with me this morning while Stacy went with the boys to our homeschool co-op, and so she's hanging out with me, and I'm doing a few things. But I don't want to be on here very long today, but I wanted to just share something. For instance, look at this. This is what happened to our house last night. So we have this snow happening, and as I look at the snow around me, it's beautiful, and the sun is shining now, and things are melting quickly. Our first snow that actually kind of stuck. Um, but so much of my life, I get to do things that are really quite awesome, and I love doing them. But with it comes, well, let me just back up. So I'm going to back all the way up. I'm using a friend, a mug, a friend. I'm using a friend. I'm using my mug, the Aspen Song mug. So my friends Dave and Nadine, they had a dream that they wanted to have a like an Airbnb somewhere. And so for a couple of years, they did research, they traveled around, they stayed at a bunch of Airbnbs, and then they started looking for a property that they could turn into one. And so now the name of it is Aspen Song. It's up in Evergreen. We were up there on Wednesday night for prayer. I was up, some of us from church were up there. We gathered at their place for prayer. It's a beautiful place. And what's fascinating to me is it's a perfect picture of of this concept that I'm thinking of, is that they love it. They love their property. They love the business that they get to do together. Um, they have it decorated beautifully. I love it. I'm so glad of what they're doing. But it comes with work. Like, they have to actually clean it. They have to keep up with it. And as cold weather's coming on, they're actually having to work on how something is going on with their heating system. So how are they going to heat it properly? And so they're trying to figure some of those things out. And so with it, Aspen Song. It's a lovely name for a Airbnb or a bed and breakfast or whatever. It's not a bed and breakfast, whatever. Anyway, it's an Airbnb. I get so confused. When I was younger, I learned what a bed and breakfast was, and that was a lot of work to figure that out. And then well, not too much, but now there's Vrbo and Airbnb and all these other types of things. And anyway, so that you can go stay at their beautiful little place. It's called Aspen Song, but it requires work to keep it up. So even though they're living the dream, there's still work that they have to do. And so that was part of what I was thinking about with myself, is that earlier this week I shared a bunch of photos from us going out on our fishing trip most recently. And in those photos, that as I was sharing them, like, it's beautiful where we are. We're out by this lake. It's beautiful. Like, there's this I have a series of pictures here of of Hudson fishing. Hudson is he desires to be a fisherman, and he does whatever he does passionately. So here, let me see if I can go through this series of pictures. So here's Hudson. He's by the water. I just took several different photos here, but he's just by the lake. He's fishing. This was when we'd moved to the trout pond, so he's fishing through several of these, and I just love it. He's learning how to cast. He's learning how to do all of this, and we all did catch some fish. Um, the part of it was, and I think I have a picture too of us when we were out there. We were at well, on our way down to go like these, I just have to show you these. This set of pictures. It was just so beautiful out there. So this is the Arkansas River, and then like from the Arkansas River, we were across from there in a stocked pond for where the boys did a lot of their actual fish catching. We did a lot of fishing in a lot of other places, but we did our fish catching there uh, in just is one corner of the Pueblo Lake Pueblo Reservoir State Park. You see the dam up there behind. Anyway, so the point was it was beautiful and I was loving it. And we do these things frequently. And so if you were just watching like what I posted on social media, for instance, I think let's see, I put some photos up there and I shared just briefly what we did. And so I was thinking about that. Like that's from the outside looking in, we are living the dream. From the inside looking out, we're living the dream. I love my life. Um, but the reality is that with it comes work. Like when I was first trying to get into artwork, I remember the year that I actually was doing only artwork for my living, basically, and I was painting store windows and doing chalk art and things like that. And I discovered that that required a lot of discipline and a lot of hard work, but it was what I loved to do. And so I had to be willing to do the discipline and the hard work to live the dream. But somehow inside me, and maybe you have the same thing, there's this thought that if I'm doing what God made me to do, and if I'm doing the things that I love to do, it won't be work. You know, they say, someone said, if you do what you love, you won't have to work a day in your life or something like that. Well, what I discovered is it still requires discipline. It still requires diligence. I still have to get up and go after it. I can't just let it go. I have to actually do something. And so that's what I learned with my um the various things, because I'm living the dream doing way back when I was doing the gospel chalk art. That was something I was wanting to do so badly. Now I'm married and I have children. That's one of my dreams. I'm a filmmaker. That was one of my dreams. And so I had so many dreams that I had that, you know, they are dreams. And I am grateful that I get to do them. All right. So I came over here on Instagram and I'm just going to turn it on down here, see how that works. So that's my Instagram account. Maybe if I make this just a little bit bigger and I move, does this even work? It kind of works. Okay. So it would actually work better if I moved this over here and I came over here. There, that works better. So now I'm going to this is my Instagram account. And so these are the pictures that I shared this week. So this week, first, we started out with this one of us there. This is the Bass Pro Shops over here. And then over here, this is Miss Corey. Oh, she was adorable. She was just reading through that book and, finding out where we're going to go. And then here we are out fishing. And then there's William with his first catch. And then the boys are patiently fishing and fishing. And then Eric caught one. Oh, by the way, Eric did not want to touch it, so he just left it in the net, and I had to help him get it back in the water. And then here's Peter with his fish, and then Hudson with his fish. It was amazing. Hudson was fishing the longest. He's the most willing to do things with this, but he was the last one to catch a fish. But he was so patient the whole time. So anyhow, and then Stacy got to go ride her kayak, and it was a beautiful time. So I just wanted to share this from the perspective of this is what I share with the world. This is what people see from the outside. But then there's the realities. Within 30 minutes, that when we stopped at Bass Pro Shops and I was buying these little floating lures so that more of the boys can actually cast and reel in something without getting it snagged all the time. And so I was buying those little the floating lures. And so everyone picked one. And so we were, 30 minutes down the road in the RV, headed toward our destination, when suddenly I had to pull over, and we spent half an hour because Hudson got his hook stuck in his thumb so bad that we had to clip off the hook and And actually, Stacy was very brave, and we had to push it all the way through and get it out because it was a bad situation. It was by that time it was late at night. I was looking around for where are the emergency rooms. We were looking at the situation. What can we do? And so God was merciful to us, and that little hook came out. It was a big hook, but the hook came out, and we were able to. Hudson was very brave. He completely impresses me on how brave he is with all the pain he's had in his life. But we were able to get the hook out of his thumb. He wore a Band-Aid until the next day, and then he took it off and was like, "Nah, it's fine." You could still see the two little spots, and he was fine, and he kept fishing and just enjoying it the whole time. The thing about doing these things with my boys is I have always, since I was, in my teens and first started dreaming about what it would be like to have a family, I've always wanted to have a beautiful wife. I've always wanted to have, here's a picture of me with Stacy from our engagement photo shoot. I am so blessed, and I know it, and I love her. And, the pictures I just shared of us with the boys, I just love this season. I love my children. I love my family. But this is not, so it's living the dream, but it requires me to constantly deny my own flesh, because there are days like when we go, we get there to the lake and we're in the RV, and I'm thinking, oh, this is beautiful here. Like Stacy and I went outside the night before. We got to walk around. We got to see the moon, all of these things. So it was beautiful, but it consistently requires me to deny myself and to love these boys and my little girl, Corey, and my wife. And so it's what I want. It's what I desire, but it doesn't come easy. It's very rewarding, and I enjoy it, and I love remembering it and looking back at it. But just really honestly, it's sometimes the thing I don't want to do. Like, with the boys to go fishing, like for me to go fishing requires deciding, well, which rod and reel do I want to use today? Grab my tackle box, I go down, I can start fishing. If I take the boys fishing, and if you've ever taken young people fishing, the children fishing, you know what this is like. I get one hook on, I get everything set for each one of them, and by the time I get through them, the first one is back saying, okay, I'd like to try something different. And so I've had to, work with saying, okay, well, what can you do yourself? What are you able to make happen? And to not to serve them, but to serve them by helping them learn new skills and learn new things. And in the end, to manage my own expectations, because it's not just fishing, it's kayaking, it's whatever we do. I love what they get to do, but it requires an immense amount of work on my part to be their dad and to take care of this, and to actually make something happen. And so what I keep finding is that, yes, I have the dream here. I love the idea. Let's go do this together as a family. And then I have to do the actual work. And if I never have done it, it would seem insurmountable. Like, I can't go do all that stuff. But by just doing it, just jumping in and doing it, it's amazing what all we learn, how many ways we can figure stuff out, and how absolutely enjoyable and rewarding it is to do it. And so, I have to work on my own attitude. I have to help the boys choose cheerful attitudes when things are hard. With Hudson, actually, we were standing out there, and all the others had already left the lake and were headed back to the RV and were playing their games back there or whatever. And I was just chatting with Hudson as we were standing there, and he was casting and waiting. And I asked him, I said, Hudson, is it hard to be patient when you're fishing? And he was like, yeah. Oh. And just like that. That was when he caught the fish. So he told Mama later, he's like, Papa just asked me if it was hard to be patient, and then I caught the fish. And so I thought that was pretty cool, just to get to have that experience with him. So this is meant to be encouraging, but it's a little bit of reality, is that to do the things that God has called us to do requires discipline. It requires self-control. It requires dying to the flesh, because there's the lazy part of me that is not the best part of me, and I don't want that to grow. I really love the part of me that loves others and is allows God to work through me to use to encourage others. And so, but that takes discipline, and it takes sometimes practice and learning curve and humility and honesty. And so I am grateful to get to do the things we do with film as a pastor, with my family, with the artwork I get to do. I'm grateful for all of that. But it is in all of these things, God is working, molding, and shaping me, and He wants me to carry more and more of His characters, His character qualities, His um, I said His characters. I have a bunch of His characters. My boys are definitely God's little characters. But character qualities, just learning more to be like Jesus. And the process of being indwelled with the Holy Spirit, it amazes me because it says walk in the Spirit, walk in the Spirit. And that's not like lying in the Spirit or sitting in the Spirit or sleeping in the Spirit. It's walk in the Spirit. That's what it says. And so I'm often reminded of that, is that I need to get up, put one foot in front of the other, and allow Him to work through me. And I'm very blessed. But even this weekend, as we were out there, Stacy and I had an ongoing conversation just discussing various things about me, specifically, things that trigger me, things that cause me to go into a funk or a depression, or things that irritate me or frustrate me. And just examining, why are those present? Where did they come from? And how can we find the necessary healing to not have those things happen all the time? And so I'm walking, working, living the dream, and I love it, but I also have to die to myself constantly to keep working it. So please, if you have children and you do stuff with them, keep posting beautiful pictures. I love it. I am not confused thinking, oh, they have it so easy. I know it takes work, but it encourages me when I see you putting in the work with your family and I'm putting in the work with my family. That's a blessing. I'm encouraged to see people putting in the work that it takes to go do stuff with their children, to live the dream. And same goes for ministry and art and everything else that we might call living the dream. Let's keep putting in the work, and yeah, go ahead, share the pictures with me. I am blessed to see you thriving. That's really my talk for today. I don't have much else, and I have another meeting coming up, so I will see you guys next week. Blessings.